Alright guys, Wandering Beast here, and in true Wandering Beast fashion, you are tucked into the door of the bus right now to try to keep you out of the wind. It has been a gorgeous day here in Central Oregon. We've been out hiking and wandering, and as I'm slowly wrapping up camp, wanting to shoot this video, the wind is kicking up, the clouds are coming in, everything's getting really dark, so hopefully you can see my beautiful face. But as the title says, I want to introduce you to the Lensun Solar Hood Solar Unit Kit. It's a mouthful. We're going to be installing another solar panel onto the adventure bus. Now we're not taking any others off. In fact, the last solar panel that I did was the Lensun solar blanket, and I really like the usage of that blanket. I like being able to store it inside the bus, pull it out, whether I'm putting it in the window or directly in winter with that lower sunlight. I don't have my top panels to be tiltable yet, so in winter or if it's snowing out and those are covered, I can still get, power coming in, feeding my house batteries and that lithium bank that I have. Now that adds all of the living quarter stuff. As you guys know, I don't live in the bus full time, so I'm not always driving it. It's fun little weekend adventures, week-long adventures, multi-week trips with the family. In fact, I just got back from a 10-day trip in Eastern Oregon where I was taking a class, so I lived in it because it was a lot cheaper than paying for 10 days for a hotel. I think the high that week was 12 degrees in Eastern Oregon. It was a fun trip, but it was a good test of a couple different things that I had going on, whether or not you could live out of that with winter solar supply and snow coming down and covering panels and things of that nature. Also, stealth camping, kind of an urbanish environment because I had to get to the college where the classes were. So those are always kind of fun little testaments of how the bus works, what I can do better, and always constantly testing it and keeping track of things. Now, one of the things I've always wanted to do is add a solar panel and its own solar controller to just the truck batteries. Now, the preparedness side of my brain, the always wanted to be ready side of my brain, always wants to have the truck ready to go, throw the family in there and escape. Whether it's a bug out situation, whether or not we have our pipes burst in the middle of the night and everyone needs to get warm and I fire up the diesel heater, I always want that thing just primed, ready to go. I do drain the water tank in between large adventures, especially when we have a high of 7 degrees Fahrenheit for a week long here in Central Oregon. So there's always going to be some things that I'm going to have to do, but it has happened more than once where either I left a switch on or it's been too long and the batteries have drained down. All right, we're going on almost 2.5 months. Yeah, not enough. You can see that. Sitting at 7 volts. We are about mid-January, not quite mid-January. So one, that's terrible for the batteries themselves. To be completely drained to the floor over a long period of time, not being driven every day as a daily driver, that is really bad on the batteries. 2, I want to be ready to go. I don't want to have to go grab an extension cord, drag it out to the bus, charge it up, and then go. That's not ideal. And then 3 is being a wildland firefighter, especially this last year, and next year seems to going to be a very similar, if not worse year. I was away for a very long time. Now, I travel on the bus to our shop to grab my fire truck, and I leave my bus there. So oftentimes I'll even let the fan go just to kind of keep the heat down. We're talking midsummer, triple digits, and I'm trying to keep the bus cool while keeping the fridge going with the solar, etc. And there was multiple times where I did a 14-day roll. I came back, I lived in that bus, I didn't drive anywhere. I took my 2 days R&R there, and we went right back to a 14, or we rolled to a 21. I barely drove that thing all summer. I was pretty much in my fire truck from June to November. And although I didn't ever get stranded by the bus, I always kind of wondered. Now, the Renogy system I have on there that I think I've done a review on, it's a solar controller, MPPT, and it's also a DC to DC. There's supposed to be a way that it back feeds extra solar energy once it detects that my lithiums are topped off. I have never been able to get that to work properly. And it's probably because I am running through an isolator, like a solenoid. It's not directly connected. So when I run my DC to DC, I flip a switch and that solenoid then connects, and then my alternator is now charging my house battery. And it gives me a little more flexibility of how I power and charge my house batteries. But if that one gets left on, that solenoid alone is enough to drain my house battery. And two, I've never been able to see significant backflow of my solar once my lithiums are topped off in the summer. That's going to keep my house batteries topped off. And that's where this long drawn intro is coming. Lensun Solar, we'll put close-ups up here, but this is going to be a 75 watt panel. It will have its own solar controller underneath the hood. This goes directly onto the hood. Now a lot of you will see their kits include a decal panel. I chose to omit that because I'm not really worried about my finish on the bus. That thing is rugged already. It is a fiberglass hood, and I just kind of want to get it stuck on there. Now, saying that, it has been absolutely freezing. Now, if you know adhesives, a lot of these double-sided VHB tapes, they take at least a 60-degree day to cure properly. I have not had that. Until yesterday, we hit 61. Today was 69. And so I was like, hey, let's get it out of its package. Let's go put this on. I'll put in some clips here. They actually do a really good job of sealing up this panel in some cardboard and foam to keep the fragile edges and whatnot. It's quite thick. We'll put in some close-ups. However, because I was trying to keep it in pristine condition, I've been waiting to put this on the bus for a while, but due to winter, it's just not possible with the temperatures and knowing how I'm going to have to seal that and the glues and all that stuff. So we got this amazing 69-degree day today, and I'm pulling everything apart. I'm looking at their instruction manual. One, not Lensun Solar, so maybe just some generic hood panel, I'm not really sure. I've got some little feet that it can attach some zip ties so I can kind of manage the cabling. That's great. And then I'm looking around and, well, the VHB tape, 3M's VHB tape, is something you need to purchase separately. That isn't anything you can usually buy locally. That means I've got to hop on Amazon or somewhere online, Uline, and I got to put an order for VHB tape. Now the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're back in the 40s, maybe the 50s for a couple days, and back at freezing at night. So I don't know. I'm going to have to go put a timeout on this. I'm going to have to go order the VHB tape. I may, if I have to, pull the hood off the van and bring it into my workshop here, kick the heater on, and for 24 hours, making sure that we're above 60 degrees in here. And I think that's the only way I'm going to get this accomplished. So this has kind of been a long intro. This is going to be part of the install, but stay tuned. We'll be back when my VHB tape shows up. All right, guys. Well, it's been a few days. Amazon came through. It is just delivered. We have some VHB tape. Again, VHB, you want the actual 3M VHB, which is a double-sided foam tape. We're going to get ready to install it. Ideally, you want VHB tape to be over 60 degrees, as I probably mentioned already. It's currently 62, so I'm feeling pretty confident about it. There is still some prep. If you go over your install instructions, as I mentioned, a lot of you guys are going to get the decal panel, which is going to protect your paint on your hood. I'm not really worried about that, so I actually have just a quick dry erase. I've got the panel itself kind of measured from the edge where I want it, lined up with some masking tape. I drew a line where center is, so I can kind of keep everything lined up. That way, once I get the tape on there, it'll easily slap back on. So everywhere inside of the dry erase marker, I'm going to hit with a little bit of Scotch-Brite pad, just to kind of rough it up a little bit, and alcohol, leftover discount alcohol, 75 cents at Walmart, clearance from COVID. But we're going to make sure everything is nice and clean for that VHB tape. And then we're going to put some heavy weights down on top, and we'll leave that for 24 hours. I'm glad I got today just above 60 because it makes me feel better about that VHB bonding really well. I did reach out to Lensun Solar. They got right back to me, and I said, hey, the reason I haven't installed this yet is because I just had to order VHB tape. And I said, is it normally there? And they said, no, actually the tape isn't normally included. And I looked over the website for this panel, for this truck anyway, and nowhere on there does it say, make sure you purchase this separately. So I told them, I feel like I can't be the only one that realizes too late that you need to order the VHP tape when you order this, or it should just be included. All right, now getting the gluing down of the panel, while that is sitting, we're gonna let that sit for at least 24 hours, but it gives you a chance to now find out how you wanna route the wiring. Pretty simple for mine, I'm just dumping around the back. There is some included little pads and some zip ties, so you can kind of keep that wiring cleaned up. The solar controller itself is really well made. Solid, sturdy, it's got a little bit of channeling in the back for any sort of cooling. It is of course going to be bleeding off any, I think it's around a 20 volt panel down to whatever your 14 is. So pretty easy. You've got a long wire here, so if you need to put it a little ways away from your truck battery, you can. Of course, this could go to any battery. You could do this on a boat, you could do this on whatever you need to. The other ones are just going to be your MC connectors. They're going to go right into the solar panel. So I'm going to put this in last so that I know exactly where I want to route the wiring. I might even just VHB tape the top of this right to the top of my battery for now and see what kind of voltage we can get out of it. So as you can see, once we got all the stuff figured out and I got the tape and I got it installed, the rest is history. It's kind of a just leave it and forget it system. Now, why is this system important? Why would you want one of these systems? Why do I need this system with all the power I have? I even have future plans to increase the solar on the roof. Why do I need another solar panel stuck to the hood of my truck? Well, I think this is actually really handy for folks that don't have a house system, that maybe are relying on a Blue Yeti or a Jackery box or something in the back, and they want to maybe run a few things off the truck battery. Maybe they have a fridge that they don't necessarily want to be tied down to the Blue Yeti, or whatever the case may be. A very sort of weekender package. One, it makes sure that your house battery is always ready. Two, if you just have a couple amp draw like a fridge or something, that's going to more than amply keep it topped off. This is a 70 watt panel. Depending on your make and model of your vehicle, you can have a much larger panel. I will say with my install, it's one big square panel. That made it really easy. The wiring was easy. If you have a new modern sleek hood that's got hood scoops and 3 different sides, chances are they probably make a panel for it, but you're gonna have 3 wires off of 3 panels that'll come together and then go to your solar controller. It's waterproof under there. It's just a no-brainer. It's kind of a leave it and forget it unit. But I really like this to the point where I'm thinking about getting it on some of our family adventure vehicles that aren't the bus. We take smaller trips. It used to be our Ford Expedition, which we still have. That was kind of before the bus was built. That was our family weekender. You guys have seen that on some videos. When it's just the wife and I, honestly, she has a newer rig, which is a 2017 Jeep Renegade, and it's just a cool little neat compact silly little 4-cylinder that gets 30 some miles to the gallon on 12 gallons. You know, I could carry some extra fuel and we could have a 1,000-mile range, and it just seems to go. It is the trail edition, I think they call it. It's got the little panel on the hood already, and I think I'm going to try to find the solar version for that so that it's always ready to go, so I can probably put a small fridge in the back and we can take some smaller adventures without having to take the bus. So let me know what you guys think. I'm always curious. You know, these are kind of my ideas and how I see them working in the bus, but maybe I'm the only one. So let me know if you guys are curious. I have seen them out in the country, the mountainside, more and more on other rigs. So I don't know if you guys are using them for just your house battery, if you're running stuff like fridges off your house battery. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you on the road.